What's going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about all the cool buffs and changes I've made to Veluza in my ROM hack. A lot of this stuff might look kind of crazy or weird on paper or just, at first glance, especially if you're a new viewer. So I promise I'll explain all of it in just a second if you stick with me. But before I get into that, I do want to have a disclaimer for any new people. First of all, shout out to you. Thanks for clicking on the video. Welcome. Let me know in the comments down below if you are a new viewer. It's cool to know how many new people come to my channel and see my stuff just from clicking on the videos. And if you're returning, also shout out to you. I very much appreciate you. Excuse me. Yeah, so Veluza, okay, no, the other thing I need to have a disclaimer for. If you're new here, pause the video, don't click off, just pause it, and then go to the description. There is a detailed bullet point list explaining all of the key points about how I balance this ROM hack, so you can give that a little read. If you don't like reading, you can pause this video and open up another tab, and you can watch the videos if you'd rather do that instead of reading. But I mean, reading is definitely the quickest way to get that information. It's in bullet point form, it's not too bad, and that'll explain a lot about the hack because it's a very different, in-depth type of ROM hack compared to your typical ROM hack. So give that all a read, and it'll answer a lot of your questions. But now, in regards to Veluza itself, which is what this video is focusing on, abilities all pretty self-explanatory. I'll explain them more in a second, but first I just want to explain like weird shit like the move, like because I know some like competitively brained people are gonna see this and be like, what, ceaseless edge? What is this guy smoking? Oh, so I'm ceaseless edge is still an exclusive move, right? If you go to the move guide, there's a whole list of them. Although I wouldn't really, it's not that important really because a lot of them are just listed on the actual move, like the Pokemon section, if they're exclusive for the most part. So you don't need to study that as much. Meanwhile, the regular standard moves are actually like widespread, moves that all fit into specific categories. So it's pretty easy to remember which is which once you just give it a look. Once like, okay, these are all Draco Meteor Bands. Okay, I understand. These are all recoil moves now. Okay, easy to understand. You move on. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's why I organized it so it's easy to understand for people. But Ceaseless Edge. So the flavor of Ceaseless Edge for me is the Pokemon has to be either made of like stone or metal or something similar to where if they were to slash you, pieces would fall off. Or you can feasibly see like shards or splinters coming off, right? Because it sets spikes. In Veluza's case, that's definitely fitting because number one, he's already got sharpness in vanilla. Number two, his whole, he has a whole signature move about cutting himself like open to like, fillet himself and become faster, which is also, by the way, why he has Unburdened. That's an incredibly fitting ability for him. Again, the fact that he literally is cutting his own like flesh off to move faster. That is like that's like the perfect flavor for one of the most perfect flavors for Unburdened. The only other perfect flavor for Unburdened is like mons that hold items. I think are really fitting for Unburdened because they lose that big item and then they, for example, Tank a Ton, like I think fits Unburdened really well personally. Shit like that, and also just generally fast looking or swift looking ish Pokemon. But in this case, yeah, Unburdened, very very fitting. Keep in mind, I also have to balance this guy around. I think it was what six other water psychic types in this hack. Of course, not all those are water psychic in vanilla, but yeah, 6 other water psychic types. I'm pretty sure, maybe even 7. I'm too lazy to look at my list right now, but it's a lot. So I have to keep that in mind. There's 3 other ability slots. So I also think making them kind of bulky is really cool because Veluza already has a very good HP stat in vanilla. And if you look at, first of all, they're a big ass tuna fish, right? Tuna's huge, bro. I cannot speak English, bro. Tuna are huge, bro, is what I was trying to say. Fucking 200 pound, 8-foot fish, big ass fish, man. And he's got these spikes, and he also looks kind of metallic. So not only does he, I know he's not metal, but I can definitely see him using like a lot of steel type moves like Laceration and Brutal Blade, for example. He's got that whole fillet away knife thing, which is why I made fillet away a steel type move just for flavor. Really, it has no battle impact on the type of the move. Yeah, this guy's super cool, man. And again, those abilities are really, really versatile because in this ROM hack, it's balanced around Teamlocked. Again, if you're new, read the description, it'll explain, because I think a lot of people are going to be like, why would I ever use this thing defensively? It's not that bulky. First of all, it is pretty damn bulky. And then second of all, on the physical side, which is what you'd be using with Barbed. Anyways, and then yeah, it's got these spikes, so all these, like, Ceaseless Edge relates to the whole spike filleting itself thing. Sharpness is obviously is what I had in vanilla, and Unburdened, like I already covered, is very fitting as well. So that's that. Psyblade is a bit of a weird choice. If you think about the electric terrain effect, I recognize that. I know it's weird, but I still think they can just have Psyblade, man. Like, just let them cook. It is a ROM hack in the day. I can go a little weird sometimes, And I just like Veluza, so I'll let him have the 135 base power sharpness move, because Psycho Cut is 120, but if you hold Scope Lens, it's actually 180. So with Scope Lens, Psyblade is stronger. With Scope Lens, Psycho Cut is stronger than Psyblade, but I think Psyblade with Life Orb is, let me do the math on that, 135 times 1.3. 175. Okay, Life Orb Sideblade is almost as strong as Cycle Cut with Scope Lens, but Cycle Cut with Scope Lens still beats it out. Not to mention you have Aqua Cutter. So once, yeah, if you're faster than whatever's in front of you, and you need that big nuke move, then you can click Aqua Cutter, Cycle Cut, Drill Run, Laceration, Jagged Edge, Night Slash. Those are all your 50% crit moves. So with Scope Lens, those go to 180. Without Scope Lens, they're 120. It's a 50% crit. So essentially 0% for the player, unless you're running Scope Lens, then it's 100%. That's how you should be playing those moves. At least you should never be banking on that 50% crit, unless you have literally no other option. Also, if you've got like RNG Terra Normal, that could be pretty gas with Slash. You're supposed to randomize your Terra type, because any Terra type is good in game. You could read more about that in the description or in the videos down below. You can listen to those and understand more about why that is. But yeah, Psyblade, a bit of a weird choice. I get it. I know. Just don't overthink the electric terrain effect, man. It's okay. Let them cook, you know. Ceaseless Edge. Again, very, very fitting once you keep in mind the flavor. Like, I'm not just giving it to everything that has blades, right? Like, for example, Sceptile. I don't see Ceasel's Edge whatsoever on Sceptile because they're, like, artificial, like, or they're not artificial. It's like organic leaf blades, right? It's not, like, pieces are breaking off. Meanwhile, the shit like Seviper, King Gambit, you know, mons like that, where, like, it's metallic-looking blades, if I can see them slashing something and then pieces come off. Or, like, little splinters fall. So, that's why I think that's really cool. Yeah, that's Ceasel's Edge for you. That's the flavor on all those moves. I already covered all the 50% crit moves, again, with Sharpness. So you have one damage boosting ability, one speed boosting ability, and one defensive ability. Again, I do see them being pretty physically tanky just based on their design of being this big, bulky tuna fish. I see them, I mean, this thing basically has 100 bulk, which is pretty damn tanky with EV investment. You can run Rocky Helmet, you have Rehydrate and Recover, which are 2 heal moves. So you can not PP stall, but stall with Barbed even better. And again, on Teamlocked, your Pokemon is supposed to be very versatile, so you might be thinking, I'd never run that shit, you know, why would I ever use it? I have so many better offensive abilities, but there's a lot of cases where you'd want to play it slower and maybe enable a teammate or whatever. It depends on the matchup. That's the beauty of Teamlocked, is you're supposed to cook around, you know, quote-unquote bad matchups, because you have so many damn tools available to you with all the moves and the items and the ability slots and shit. So that's what's going on there. It's pretty straightforward, honestly. I don't think I need to talk too much else. Like, obviously, there's like a lot of other moves, like coverage moves. You know, you've got Psycho Break, which is psychic type close combat. You've got Wave Crash. You've got Hydro Assault. Hydro Assault is physical water Draco Meteor. Power Trick could be kind of a funny tech with Barb to give you slightly higher Fizz Def if you need it for something, to specifically like 1v1 a specific Pokemon that you have no other options for. Or to 1v1 a couple Pokemon even, you know, with Rehydrate and Recover, you've got 10 healing PP, so it's pretty good. They get Pluck in Vanilla, that might be a weird choice, but they get it in Vanilla, so I just let them keep it. Why not? It could be a nice little tech for like eating a berry or something once in a while, or just some, I don't know, random coverage once in a while. They also get Sharpness boosted Priority Aerial Ace, and Sharpness boosted First Impression. So those are 2 priority Sharpness moves. And then, yeah, I already covered all the other stuff. They got Rock, Ground, Steel coverage, and Dark coverage. And of course other regular coverage moves that aren't Sharpness boosted, like Takedown and CC. I see CC on them because of shit like Sharpedo and Barraskewda gets it, so I totally see it on Veluza. I think it fits fine. Acrobatics is pretty cool with Unburden specifically. Unburden in general is really good because although 112 speed is good, it's not outspeeding everything in the game, especially if you don't get that plus speed nature RNG. So having that Unburden to freely outspeed things is very flexible. Again, allows you to switch your abilities and run Unburden when you need that extra speed. Unburden is buffed. I should have talked about this earlier in the video, but it is buffed, as you can read here. Quick Claw always activates, and it's a single-use item, so that's the easiest way to trigger Unburden. But honestly, you might want to use your Quick Claw because of item clause. You might want to use your Quick Claw on somebody else. So there's a bunch of other really easy ways to trigger Unburden. The easiest and probably strongest is Endure Lychee Berry. In game, that's an incredibly I mean, honestly, it might get to the point where I have to remove Endure as a TM, sadly. That'll be in a future patch, though. After, you know, a couple months of playtesting and people playing, I'll see if Endure proves to be a little too busted. It honestly might be, unironically, with Move Learner, because it also cheeses Quick Claw still. But we'll see how things play out. And if not, there's still a bunch of other ways. I mean, you know, simple things like White Herb Hydro Assault. I already covered that superpower, right? So, or that's a physical water Draco Meteor. So you've got Hydro Assault, White Herb, Psycho Break, White Herb, CC, White Herb. I mean, there's so many ways, right? Like, you can use the seed items, like the Psychic Seed type items, even just a simple berry, you know? So in competitive, something like Fillet Away Unburden would be like absolute, even in competitive that'd be overkill, but in game you don't ever need that much speed, like literally ever. You will never need that much speed. 112 base speed at +2 outspeed everything in the game with no investments and a minus speed nature. I promise you that it'll outspeed every single trainer Pokemon. There's no doubt in my mind about that. You can also run this guy into rain to cheese some of the priority stuff and get that boost. And then of course that electric terrain deck with Psyblade is unironically a decent option. It's very, very strong with sharpness if you do have terrain up. And you could use, like, if you pull Terra Electric, you could do like Terra Electric. Yeah. BST wise, 525 is the max I saw for them. Most single stages can be anywhere from like 500 to 535, or a couple are 550, and some are even a very specific handful are 575, just for flavor reasons and stuff. But regardless of what the BST is, it's a great mon. But I did have to drop special attack here just to give them the stats I wanted, because I wanted them to be physically bulky and still be fast and strong. So that's why that is dropped so much. But yeah, that's really it. I don't know what else there is to... I mean, I could touch base at a bunch of cool little coverage moves or other cool little strategies you can do, but the main simple gist of it is, like, okay, even like Barbed plus Teleport, for example, that's great defensively, right? Because you got that minus priority pivot. And of course you got Flip Turn and U-Turn for regular pivoting, but yeah. Teleport, Barb, Rocky Helmet, Rehydrate, bulky physical defensive set for one boss fight. Very next one you switch to Unburden. Very next one you switch to Sharpness, and you keep going from there. Scarf Sharpness is obviously very, very powerful to outspeed pretty much everything, literally everything in the game at +1 with the Scarf, and then you can run bulk EVs as well to switch in easier, and then have as much attack as you need to kill whatever you need to kill for that boss fight. But that does mean you take up your choice scarf item slot, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just the point is you don't always have to do that. You can always run your scarf on somebody else, and in that case you can use Unburden or Barbed or whatever else you need to run. So that's about it for Veluza. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you made it to the end of the video. Shout out to you. And if you're a new viewer and you made it to the end, definitely let me know in the comments. I very much appreciate that as well. Peace.